and 18, 100,018 is the capacity, of which 92,500 are actually seats. There's 5,000 standing room. Okay, so they have kept the standing room because of whatever. That's just the thing. And then there's 2,000 corporate seats behind glass where you can actually sit at a table, have your dinner, have your drinks, and watch the game at the same time. Sorry? In Chennai as well? Yeah. So that trend is coming now here as well. Yeah. Okay. So I guess IT in a sports ground, right? So one of the first things they told me is why they use IT is for the managing the membership process, which is hugely different, because even today at Lords, the membership is managed in a diary, handwritten. Okay, because I visited, that's why I know. So it has 61,500 full members, and that is the limit of the members. There are not going to be any more members. That's it. Okay, so that's the amount of members that they are, and there's about 200,000, 2 lakh members that are on waiting list. Okay, I have put my daughter on the waiting list in 1996 when she was 3 years old. She still hasn't got membership. Okay, because the only time you get membership is if somebody doesn't pay the fee and they're kicked out, or when somebody dies. That's it. Okay, that's the only 2 ways the next person will move up. Okay, so they have to be members to do various things. So if you already if you are on the waiting list, it will show you where you are on the waiting list, etc. If you are an actual member, you can do various other things. You can go and book venues, book certain things such as the rooms for wedding or birthday or whatever. You can book tickets. You can book various other things on it. Okay, so that's the membership portal. So that's a big part of the IT, and it has to be obviously both integrity wise and confidentiality wise. It's a very important database that is required. AFL is actually a very tough game. The Australian rules football is a very tough game. Now I'm going to try something. I've not tried this. Let me see if I can display. Quite different actually from the American football. Now I can't display this. No, I can't display. Anyway, it's a very tough game. It's not at all like the American football, because if you hold on. Sorry about this. Can I get the volume? Just about 30-second clip I'll show you. So if you can see what is happening to the grass under their feet. It's a brutal. There's no helmets. The NFL has helmets. AFL has no helmets, no protective gear, nothing. Okay. So it's very tough on the turf, the actual game, because there are 3 games every weekend. Okay, so by the time the last game finishes on Sunday, the next game is on a Friday afternoon. Okay, so there's only 4 days for the turf to recover from the brutal beating it has taken over the 3 days. Plus the Melbourne weather is not all that great. Okay, Melbourne weather, if you know, how many of you have been to Melbourne? In winter? Summer, yeah. So in winter, there's wind that comes from Antarctica. It has a wind chill factor of anywhere between -5 to -15 degrees Celsius. You never see the sun for 6 months. It's very, British basically settled Melbourne because Melbourne reminded them of London so much. It's cold, It's miserable, you never see the sun, and it's raining all the time. Okay? Now, when that happens for 6 months and you're pounding the turf, the grass just doesn't grow back. Okay? And this is happening for 7-8 months, you need to have that. So the grass just doesn't grow back in its shape. So because it is cold, so the grass doesn't grow, and it is frost. There's frost almost every morning, which means the grass is kind of frozen. Okay? So what we have is a turf management system which is controlled by the IT systems. Okay? What the turf management system does is 2 things. Number 1, this is a picture of the turf management system. So as you can see, there are these lights. There are specific lights that are mounted on wheels, on these specially made things which actually run across the ground at some specific intervals based on how much damage was there to the turf. And it all goes into a computer. There's an IT actually software that calculates the things for it. And tells, well, which section of the ground should have the light for how long. What the light does is the light not only gives it warmth for the grass to grow, but also the specific wavelength for it to grow quickly. Okay, so that it is recovered by the time the next Friday comes in. Okay, this is another photo. Now you can see the lights clearly. And this is actually taken during a daytime. So that's how dark and dull it is all the time. Okay, in Melbourne during winter. This is another photo of the same thing. So essentially, there's a turf management system. What also happens is the way MCG contract works. September end, the Australian rules football finishes. The first Sheffield Shield match, which is the Ranji cricket equivalent match, actually happens on the first weekend of October. Now, there is no time to prepare the pitch. Okay, and they found this as a major problem going back in time. So Melbourne Cricket Ground came up with a very innovative idea. They actually built the pitch outside, okay, in a different location. And then the pitch is then transported back into the ground on the week when the football season finishes, and it is put in place. Okay, it is revolutionary. It was revolutionary when it was tried. It was tried in the 70s, and it still is revolutionary because that's what they do. Now the turf management system actually monitors and maintains the warmth and how much fertilizer is going in that wicket on the other side of somewhere which is not in the ground itself. Okay, so that's where IT is used. And I think I've got a small clip which I will play, which will give you an idea. Can I have a volume, please? No?
I'll try and keep what we're standing on as clean as possible. So my main task is
So he's the apologies about the sound, but he's the main curator of the ground and the guy who looks at the turf. And in a sense, what they're doing is, and what they have to do as soon as the cricket season is over, in that same weekend, because cricket season is over in February, March, the football season starts. So they have to remove the pitch and take it to that other location for the footy season to continue. Okay? And they have built these special trucks and trains that come in without damaging the surface and bring the whole pitch in and take it out.
Our tubs are 24 by 3. They weigh about 32 tonne, which can't be taught our advice, which is able to hold 2 days later with AFL.
So essentially, this is what happens. The train comes in, it moves in, picks up the pitch, takes it out, brings up the next one, and that's what it does. Okay. Now, obviously, all that turf management system is all controlled by IT. Okay. The electronic scoreboard in 1982, MCG was the first ground to have a fully electronic scoreboard, which is called as with video replay facility. So it was called as vision boards. So as an example, here's a vision board. It's taken from a cricket match actually, where the scoreboard is actually here, as you can see, and it shows the cricket pitch. During footy season, it also shows replays. Even in cricket, it shows replays. So if a batsman gets out, the full replays are shown. You don't need to be in front of the TV at house. You know, it'll all be shown. And there is also these smaller electronic keyboards spread across the ground. Here it is showing a footy game score. If it's a cricket, it will show the cricket score as in a summary format. Okay. All of these are controlled by an IT system again, okay, during that particular match, whatever the match is going on. And there are different software for different games. So rugby scoring is different, AFL scoring is different, cricket scoring is different, and they are all controlled through the IT system there. In terms of security, traditionally, there was the CCTV system that was in the ground was the analog system, and they were upgraded to now a digital IP system with a storage area network. And they have found that there is great advantage that they've got. So as an example, I've shown you, here's a photo of a section of the ground taken by analog, okay? And this is the same thing taken by, same position taken by digital. Not only is the resolution higher, but the angle is wider. And more importantly, they can actually focus to 3 people. Those cameras, they are axis cameras, and they can actually focus to 3 people. So they can, what they have is, we have a very strong racial intolerance policy on the MCG. Okay, it's a very strong, so even if somebody says to me about something racial, even if they say to me, I can just send an SMS, based on where I'm located, the camera will be pinpointed, and that person will be picked up by police and kicked out. If there is some alcohol abuse going on, if whatever else is going on, if there is anything nasty going on, it will be picked up by the camera. So that's where the advantages of having those cameras. And obviously one of the challenges with this was, because these IP cameras come across a data cable, the data cable is fully exposed throughout the ground to these cameras. So there are actually 420 cameras that are spread across the ground, very, very high quality cameras. Okay. Another area where computing is in food outlets. Okay, so there are more than 460 POS terminals within the ground that are operational at a game. So there is beer outlets, alcohol outlets, food outlets, restaurant outlets, and merchandise outlets. Okay, or spread throughout the ground. So, for example, this is what a typical food outlet will look like. This is another one. As you can see, this is a private room. There is an outlet here. There are people sitting. There's full glass here, and you can actually see the game that is in progress. And there are some like these also, where you can actually have, you can't see the actual ground because it's on the left-hand side there, but you can have events there and so on and so forth. And they have POS terminals there as well. Okay. Entry to the ground. Now, all tickets are barcoded at the MCG. Everything happens in a barcode, and you actually print them at home. Okay, so once you book the ticket, you print them on a printer at home. There is a barcode, and then the barcode, what you do is you scan them. Here there are these little openings, and you scan the barcode as you go in, and it does a count and everything else. Sorry, what I forgot to tell you is that there is for the POS terminals, what actually happens is the reason why the IT is involved in the POS terminals is because they have a software in the back end which tells them, because Friday the deliveries come in for the weekend. On Friday, once the game is finished, it gives them a printout of which beer was finished in which area, where more kegs of beer are required, where more sandwiches are required, where more hot dogs are required. Because in a weekend, there is about 50 to 60,000 liters of beer is sold. More than 10,000 hot dogs are sold, more than 25,000 pies are sold, and chips are sold. So they need to be able to, where is it falling short, so they can send it to, and it's all done via the FPOS and the computer in the back end. Entry to the ground is all controlled by Wi-Fi. Okay. And you just scan your ticket, and through Wi-Fi it communicates with the main ticketing server and says, okay, you've now entered into the ground. It actually by third quarter of a footy game, for example, or by tea time, it will actually give you how many patrons are in the area, which is used for security and other purposes. So if there is a fire or if there is an emergency of any kind, they know exactly how many people are in which section of the ground, and then they can inform the police and the firemen of it. There is also what is called as a photographer network. So photographers, the still photographers I'm talking about, they are at the boundary lines for all the games taking photographs. Now they have wireless cameras. Okay, But if they want to, at the end of every quarter or the end of every couple of hours, they have to actually physically go to the photographer's room, download those cameras onto a laptop, and then upload them to their newspaper or magazine or whatever else. Okay. What MCG has done is they tried to have a Wi-Fi network only for photographers. So they could actually upload, while you're taking photos, they could upload it to their website if required directly from the boundary line, instantaneously. Okay. It didn't work because what happened is the Wi-Fi network started having bandwidth contention with about anywhere between 50 to 60,000 devices also being in there. Although they couldn't log on, but there was still communication happening on the Wi-Fi with all those smartphones of all the people sitting there. So then they have what is called as a high density Wi-Fi with directional antenna that they put in. Okay. And so now today actually still photographers can actually upload directly from the instantaneously as a match is going on. Within 2 to 3 minutes photographs are being uploaded onto the websites. So that's where a lot of IT, as you can see, there is a complex IT network that this ground has, and there are several stakeholders within the ground who traditionally will have power bases. You know, the Cameron guy you saw who was the curator. Now he's like bigger boss than CEO of the MCG because he controls the venue of the ground. Whatever he says goes, pretty much. The CEO will also listen to him because he'll say, no, I want this done, it will happen. So he was in the habit of actually just saying, oh, I like this system, let me get that computer, put it in. Okay, and there were cases when we were doing some investigations initially, there were cases where he's actually put in servers. We started having IP contention with the mail server and brought down the whole mail system for 2 days and they didn't even know what was going on. So those kind of things were happening because the business stakeholders were doing their own little thing in the world.
Infrastructure itself, in terms of lighting, especially when you have this one-day matches, lights have to go up.
Yep.
The lights have to go up, and then maybe they monitor the, I don't know, the lux level of lights. And
so that all is done not by the MCG, but that is done by, it is outsourced to a energy company, which supplies electricity, and they do it, and they bring their own system which connects directly to those, and then they take it with them. So that is not part of the MCG's IT
setup
system.
itself. All right.
Yeah. So we actually put it when we did the scope, we put things like that out of scope because we didn't necessarily want to. Because the control is very difficult to achieve on that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Quite
because,
right.
Yeah. Because it's a very specific.
And it's better to outsource this, they must have felt it, rather than you having it under your
It's a very specialized.
Very specialized.
Yeah. So there's a couple of other things also that are outsourced as well, because they're very, very specialized, and we just outsourced. They just got outsourced. So and more things are getting outsourced. So like the scoreboard system, in the next 1 month, the next project is to outsource it all to a different company. I'll give them.
No, particularly why I would say is that it may not be only the customers who come to the ground. There could be a lot of other service people may be coming in.
Absolutely.
So how do you really do the identity of the people who are entering? You could be a cleaner, but he can go and then tamper with some of the systems, and then all your security.
There is a electronic access card. There's a physical security is a completely different thing. There is an access card which allows you to go certain areas and not go certain. So there are waiters in those rooms. There are people serving food. There are people serving alcohol. Now the people serving food cannot serve alcohol, by the way. Because alcohol, you have to do a course called responsible serving of alcohol. And unless you have passed that, you cannot serve alcohol in Australia. So they are different. So they cannot. So the food serving guy cannot come into
that area.
All right. There is security guards. There is policemen. There is firemen who are stationed. There are parking attendants who help the parking. So there are plethora of people for every game that are attending.
That access control also will come under your.
Absolutely it does. Absolutely it does. And that's where that's where the complexity of the ISO 27000 is fairly huge. So essentially, what we did is we realized that these were the major problems. Is that everybody? So the facilities manager guy, the physical security guy, he goes, "What is this ISO 27000? I don't want to know. As long as I've got so many responsibilities with letting the right people into the right area, I don't want to know what your ISO 20001 is. And if you are not allowing me to make a change because you have got a change management process, but I know I have to do the change, why should I listen to you? Because I'm losing control of my system now. Okay? So those are the kind of conversations that we started having. So one of the first things we did is we said, no, the first basic thing is education. So we, rather than trying to implement it quickly in 6 months, we said we are actually going to take 18 months to do this. Okay, was our initial target. We are not going to be aggressive, let's do it. The first 3 months, the first quarter, all we did was education, all we did was present one-on-one as well as in workshops multiple times to all these business stakeholders. What is ISO 20001, what benefits you're going to get, how it actually helps you to do business rather than stops you from doing business, how it actually will help you augment your risk management, and those kind of things. So it was multiple sessions, not just one session or 2 sessions. It was multiple sessions, and it was education. It was sort of a presentation, education sort of a, and something that you mentioned yesterday, Mr. Kumaran, which is management perspective. You know, you've got to be able to talk in the language that is understood by the curator, by the food and beverage manager, by the turf guy. You know, we have to be able to speak that language and translate what we want to do in their language. Otherwise, they will feel threatened. So that's how we got the business leaders buy-in. Okay. Now, luckily, what also happened is when we met with the CEO, we said to the CEO, look, we've got to have all communications regarding this project in the first 3 months to be coming from your email ID. Okay. So not because IT is the project manager, whatever else, it has to come from you, because the tone from the top determines what the people underneath are going to do. Okay. So that's what we did is in the first 3 months, every email that went out regarding the project went out from the CEO. Okay. We wrote it, of course. Okay. We wrote it, gave it to his PA sent it across. So for all the business stakeholders and even the senior IT people, it felt, hey, this is coming from the CEO. I better try and understand what this is and help these guys out. Otherwise, I might be in trouble. What we also did is we were very, very particular in trying to tell them that they will not lose control, because I think this is the biggest worry that a business stakeholder has. When an IT security guy comes in and says, well, I'm going to have this new IT security management system, he goes, okay, so what, you're not going to allow me to do what now? Is the first question. So we took care and we assured this person that, hey, well, all of them really, the business stakeholders, that you're actually not going to lose any control. In fact, this is going to help you make your job easier. What we also agreed on very strictly is that we will do everything in small steps. As I explained, over 18-month period. We're going to take everything in small steps. We're not just going to rush out and do everything. And what we did is we started at the organizational level. You know, what is the organization of security? What are the roles and responsibilities? And we started by forming a information security steering committee. And we got all the business heads into that committee, headed by the CEO, and every little thing. So initially there were lots and lots of meetings where people were going, oh my God, how many meetings are you having? Right? But it was all to try and get the management perspective and get the education points across to these senior people so that we get their buy-in. And one of the most important things we did is in all these meetings, we actually got the whole committee to sign off or approve certain steps. You have to formally sign off on the steps. And only when the formal sign off is there, we will proceed to the next. Otherwise, we will not proceed. And it was a very important psychological step that we took. And everyone was sort of, oh, well, I have signed off on it, so I better follow it. You know, that kind of mentality came into the picture. What we also did is we first focused not on technologies, but on people and the processes. Okay? And we said we are not going to buy any new tool or buy anything just because ISO 27001 is coming in. Okay? So what we did is literally we built some risk assessment tools within Excel. Doesn't matter if they are static documents. Okay? But we used something that the business leaders were already comfortable with. So all the business guys, they were already using Excel, they were already using Word, you know, they were using folder structures and so on and so forth. Okay, and that's exactly what we use. So even for a document management system, we didn't really need a document management system. What we did is we created a mind map of all the documents, procedures, policies that are required by ISO 27001 in the MCG, and we created a mind map and did an HTML backend hyperlinks to actual folder structure in Windows. So it looked something like this. Again, I'll try to. So this is what it looks like. Okay, so this is the ISMS mind map that we created. And for each section, if you can see now, you can't see the whole lot because it's I'm having issues with resolution. But so section 6, these are the documents. So section 11, these are the documents. So some are policies, some are checklists, some are agreements, some are procedures. But they are all laid out in a mind map on a web page. And anyone who wants to see what that procedure is, what that checklist is, what that document, all they need to do is they need to click on the hyperlink, this arrow hyperlink here, and it will go to the Windows folder structure and it will bring out that document. So no fancy document management system, no trim, no nothing at all. Okay, so something very, very simple. Okay, but it has worked an absolute treat. Okay, absolute treat because everyone is used to the folder structure. So when you have to change the file and save it, you don't have to check it in and check it out and all that hoo-ha. All you do is just as you save normal any file, you update it, save it, bang in this location, automatically it gets linked to this particular HTML. Okay. So we tried to keep it very, very simple. Because all the business stakeholders, they were used. Now I lost my presentation. There it is. Okay. We also involved the third parties right from the beginning. So for example, there is a group called Spotless which does this cleaning. All they do is cleaning for the MCG after the game. Okay, that's all they do. But they do need use of the IT system within their office. Okay. Which is located within the MCG, one section of the MCG, because how many cleaners to send where on this such a big ground? Okay, because if you send 10 cleaners into an area which is not very dirty and only 2 where it is dirty, then they will, unnecessarily they'll get stressed out. These guys will be loafing around. Okay, and the Spotless and MCG will be paying them by per hourly rate. And in Australia, hourly rates are very, very expensive. Manpower is very expensive in Australia. Okay, minimum wage rates are, up to almost $18.5 to $19 an hour. Okay, are the minimum wage rates. So you have to try and minimize that. So what the IT system actually does is based on the food usage consumption and the alcohol consumption. It gives you a sense, send 3 cleaners here, send only 4 cleaners there, send only 1 cleaner there. Because there is a direct correlation between the amount of alcohol consumed in a particular area and the amount of mess and garbage which is left lying around. Okay, so do that. Now, this third party actually then has to have access to that system, that program. And so we involve them from the beginning because they will need to have training, they will need to understand what we're doing, they will have to follow certain procedures as they update and print reports and send an email reports out and so on and so forth. So we involved them right from the beginning, which made it very, very easy. We didn't have to worry too much. And in certain instances, like